Well, hello, everyone. This is Wilson Cole. I'm president of Adams, Evans, and Ross and Backdoor Hire Solutions, and I am joined by Samantha Vincent, one of my daughters, and our very own staff attorney for both of the companies. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I am doing fine. I know we're going to talk about something that just absolutely amazes me, that clients and debtors both have this issue. And that's, kind of doing the background check on your client to see if they're a corporation in good standing. And let me kind of walk you through just kind of an overview. And Sam, I'm kind of walking over a little bit into your territory, but basically, whenever you're a corporation, the individual and the corporation are separately. That's why corporations were created back in the 1600s, was to protect individuals from personal liability. And I always tell our clients, know who you're dealing with, because if you go to the Secretary of State and you think you're doing business with ABC Company and it's really ABCD Company, it sounds like semantics, and the owner may be the owner of both companies, but they'll claim, hey, it wasn't that company they were dealing with this company. Keep in mind, each company is its own entity. But what we have run into, it seems recently, and there's even been companies that were owned by attorneys to where they didn't get their sequencing right they started doing business before they formed their LLC, or they allowed their corporation to expire. Sam, kind of walk through, without attorneying it up, but in a very high level, kind of explain the corporation or the LLC, and they're typically stored at the same place, but what the issue is and what clients need to do to check on their debtors, but also what they need to do to check on their own stuff.
Well, one thing, especially if you're dealing across state lines, if you're dealing with ABC Corporation, know where they're incorporated.
That's a good point.
Because I can't tell you how many times clients are dealing with it. We can't find out where they're incorporated until all of a sudden there's a bankruptcy notice of a bankruptcy court out in North Dakota, and you can't figure out because everybody was doing business in Nebraska.
Yes.
You run into situations like that. So you can even ask, where, in your intake form, name of company, incorporation, registered agent. You don't necessarily have to ask for the registered agent, but to have that information. Or if you're not wanting to ask up front, go, okay, it's ABC Corporation in Texas. If you Google, Texas business search, Georgia business search, it will take you to whether it's the Secretary of State's office, whether it's the Department of Revenue, whether it's, the Ministry of Corporations. Each state may call it something slightly different. I'd say probably 80% are housed under the Secretary of State, but then some states have it in different places. It'll pull that up and you can go in, you can type it in. If you can't find them, it might be worth sending an email over and asking, are you doing business as? Mm-hmm. Because it might be that they're, Fred Smith Enterprises doing business as ABC. And
exactly. Well, and a lot of our clients, like Express is a franchise owner, MRI or GRN, sometimes can be or they're always seem to be a franchise owned. They're certainly not management recruiters. It may be Fred Smith Enterprises doing business as MRI, or Fred Smith Enterprises doing business as Express that's using a DBA. I often find that if you search Secretary of State, Georgia, or SOS, Georgia, SOS, California, whatever, that will typically get you to the Secretary of State's website. And from there, you can click off on the business search and things along those lines. How you find it, it doesn't matter. But you shouldn't have to pay to search a Secretary of State. There are some that you have to have.
Delaware will require payment.
Okay.
I think that's just because they are the nucleus of all corporations in this country.
Yep.
So they want to put a slight barrier before you have, whoever the registered agent for a mega corporation is.
Yeah.
But so there are a few that do charge, but for the most part, it's a free search that you can find easily. When it comes to your own, make sure that you followed the process to set up an LLC in the state you're doing business.
Yes.
Or where the state where your office is. And each year you're going to get that little reminder of, here in Georgia, it's by April 1st. You need to renew it. You pay your $50, you pay your $100, you renew everything. You make sure all the information's up to date. Is your office address correct? Is your registered agent address correct?
Yes.
Things along those lines.
Because what happens so many times, and I can tell you from a debtor standpoint, we'll go to sue a debtor, and when we do a search, especially when it gets to legal to make sure we have the correct name, we see where they let their corporate charter expire 2 years ago. Our client dealt with them a year ago, which means that that debtor is no longer a corporation. They were doing business with him as a DBA. So at that point, we're able to sue the individual. There was an attorney down in Florida that started writing contracts and doing business and then set his LLC up like 30 to 45 days later after they had already incurred the debt. We were able to get that one resolved because we were able to sue him personally. And to me, he should have sued himself for malpractice because that's just asinine to have that happen. But do make sure, it sounds like semantics, but from a debtor standpoint, you want to know who you're dealing with, and we make sure we get the right person sued. From a business standpoint, your errors and omissions insurance follows your corporation. Your workman's comp follows your corporation. If you allow your charter to expire, you've not only absorbed the liability of that, you may have eliminated the protections that you tried to insure. So, just make sure you have some good processes on that, because I can't tell you how many times we've been able to, and it's not even pierce the corporate veil. The corporate veil no longer was there, so there was nothing to pierce. We went after the individual. Now, if a company shuts down and they get dissolved after the fact, then your money's gone. We're talking about doing business with somebody last year that their your corporate charter expired 3 years ago, but they were still operating a business. Now, if they shut down, I'm not saying now you can go after the individual. If you dealt with the corporation and they went out of business and then got dissolved, guess what? Your debt evaporated with that. Sam, any closing thoughts or arguments that you may have?
Make sure that your name matches whatever you have on your corporate charter.
Yes.
Just as much as you want to make sure you've got the right information for the debtor, make sure the information you have, or if your state requires that you file a DBA.
Yes. Because
some states require that if you're doing business in another name, that there be something on file saying, this is that, and have all of that in order so that you're not blindsided with, well, the comma's here instead of here, exactly. And everything goes up.
And it sounds like semantics, but how that name is spelled out in the spaces, 100%, it can cause you some problems. And if you guys want to look for backdoor hires, or you can go to our website at www.backdoorhires.com. If you'd like to book an appointment to talk about your specific collection case with Samantha or myself, go to staffingdebt.com and look for our videos coming out. Also, do us a favor. If there's a subscribe or notification, click on it below. Also, give us some comments. Let us know some of the weird stuff that you found from the Secretary of State, or some of the issues where companies were trying to be something that they necessarily weren't. Go ahead and put that in the comments. Go ahead and click on the link to subscribe so you get notified of any future postings. And thank you. Hey guys, it's Wilson again, and this video was brought to you by Adams, Evans, and Ross. And if you like the video, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button and also like the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below as well. If you'd like to learn more about our company, please visit our website at staffingdebt.com. And also remember, if there's no collection, there's absolutely no cost at all.